Welcome to Balanced Life with Debbie Carlin Boyle. Conversations connecting to a healthier you. The show that gives you all the latest and greatest health and wellness information to inspire you to live a life of balance and joy. Debbie Carlin Boyle is a health and nutrition coach, personal trainer, and fitness instructor who helps her clients live in balance with everything that feeds us, in addition to the food on our plate. Please welcome your host, Debbie Carlin Boyle.
Hello, good afternoon. Hi, everybody. Welcome to my show. I'm excited about our show today. I'm your host, Debbie Carlin Boyle, and I welcome you today to this really good show that we're going to have. But before we get started, I want to let you know that you can become interactive with myself and my guest. And by doing that, you could go to my Facebook page, Fit by Design. It's also known as Balanced Life, but look for it on Facebook at Fit by Design. We're streaming live there, and you can watch us there, as well as make a comment, ask a question. Or if you want, and you probably do have a question for my guest today, you can call in live. And the number here is 323-843-2826. So give us a call. We'd love to hear from you. So here's what we got for you today. As a holistic health and nutrition coach, I know that when it comes to diet, there is not one size that fits all. Especially with over 100 dietary theories, choosing the lifestyle that pertains to food is very, very individual. My guest today, Chef Ian Martin, I know feels the same. Chef Martin is a certified raw vegan living foods chef. He has had the unique privilege to study and work with two giants in gourmet living food, Giuliano's Planet Raw and Matthew Kenny's Make. Ian draws from both culinary styles to create his own flavor profiles, which are always nutritious, healthy, and delicious. When Ian isn't creating amazing cheeses for Make, located in the Santa Monica area, he is preparing living foods for clients. Ian feels that raw food is a label that people can quickly identify. He also feels that it's a misnomer that the word raw applies to something that is unfinished and not ready for consumption. Today, Ian will tell us how that could be further from the truth. Being a raw vegan, Ian believes that this is the optimal diet for humans, to feel your best, look your best, be at your peak physical state, and have the greatest chance of preventing many diseases that plague us today. Ian is also an accomplished musician. He's a bass player who's a graduate from the Berklee School of Music. So to tell us about his dual career and talk about all of his creative outlooks, will you please welcome my guest to the show, Chef Ian Martin. There we go. We got a little bio on you. Yes. Kind of said it in a nutshell there.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, thank you. I've been stalking you, right? Ever since we met at a farmer's market in Brentwood over a month ago.
Yeah.
And somebody pulled me to your booth and said, oh my God, you have to try these vegan cheeses. So we went over to the booth and I looked at you and all your cheeses and what you're about. And I bought some of the cheeses and went home, and I had said to you at the booth, I want you on my show. And you're like, okay, give me a call. And to come up with a date has been, a little tricky for the two of us. But so I really appreciate you taking the time
my
out of your busy life to be here today.
My pleasure. Busy at this period in my life. It's very, very busy, but
so ebbs and flows, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. You go down and you go, wait, where's everything? And then everything comes at once. So I want to hear a little bit about you and your background, where you were born, and how you got into the creative fields that you're into today.
Okay. Well, I was born in Toronto, Canada.
Ooh.
I'm the son of a pastor. Actually, both parents are both in ministry. So that's where music came.
The choirs.
And church choir, be a church musician. Started playing drums when I was about 7 years old. Played keys and then moved to bass when I was a teenager. And that took me to Berklee College of Music.
So that brought you to the States, which is in Boston.
Which is in Boston. And I got a degree in film music composition.
Ooh.
From there, I stayed in Boston for a few years and then went back and forth to New York for a little while. Then moved to Los Angeles in 2001.
Okay, and why LA?
Because everybody that I knew in LA was doing very well at the time. And
within the music
within
industry.
the music
Yeah,
industry.
and that was what you
Exactly.
were pursuing.
I was pursuing music, yes.
Okay.
Food didn't come until about maybe a little more, maybe a decade now, maybe a little bit more than a decade, but it was music up until then.
Okay.
Yeah.
So interesting. So tell me a little bit about the music and where and how that transitioned you and how you got interested to become a chef.
Well, I would say, during some life-changing events that happened more than a decade ago, I just decided I've always been health-minded, and I wanted to see how good I could feel, how much better I could feel.
You gave yourself a challenge almost.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
When somebody said to me, we're 100% living, but 90% of the food that we eat is dead. What would happen if we switched to 90% living?
That.
And that kind of resonated with me.
Yeah.
Because, depending on, which you said in your introduction, depending on who you ask, you ask 100 different people, they will tell you 100 different ways to eat.
That's right.
So for me, it just kind of resonated. That kind of made sense, that at the very least, incorporating a lot of living foods, wouldn't you feel more alive, have a lot more vitality?
Right. And when you say living foods, let's just define that. We're talking about plant-based things, plant-based
yes.
living foods.
Yes,
okay.
plant-based living foods.
Yeah. Good. All right.
Yeah, nuts, seeds, sprouted grains, fruits, vegetables.
Vegetables. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's where it started.
And so you started first with yourself. Cooking
Yes.
for yourself, experimenting with, and you wanted to go all living, no animal products whatsoever or dairy.
Yes, I've always been the kind that kind of jumps in head first.
Yeah.
And then kind of comes
Will pull back.
But I felt that, about homeostasis. Homeostasis,
Yes.
right, in our bodies, which means that even if something is good, if you're 300 pounds and you need to lose weight, if the first day you go out and run a mile, you probably feel like you'll die.
Yeah.
Because your body's saying, well, you're not used to that,
Yeah,
even
because
though
it
what
got
you're doing is
used to
great.
a certain way.
Right.
Yeah.
So I figure, jump in, give it some time, see how it works, and then kind of go back.
Okay. So what did you discover, and how did you experiment with other chefs' foods, other raw places? You said that you studied with Giuliano's. I know he had a place here in Santa Monica.
Yes.
Does he still have raw?
Not anymore.
I didn't think so.
No,
Yeah.
it's not there anymore.
But he was on many talk shows,
Yes.
preparing raw foods and stuff like that. I remember I was so intrigued at the time.
Yeah.
I was very fixated on him as a chef. So did you first go test out his foods, or did you start just doing things for yourself?
I started doing things for myself.
Yeah.
I remember when I said I'm going to do raw for a week. It's amazing when you decide you're going to do something, things just pop up. And I was riding my bike to the Apple store, and all of a sudden I saw this raw. Why that raw? I was like, oh, what's this? Raw food. I was like, wow, I'm doing a week of raw food. So I went in and I had his chocolate shake, and a tear came down my eye. It was so good.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, this is incredible. So the next day I came back in and had something else. And I was like, if this is raw food, if this is what it can be, I got to learn it. I have to jump in. And so he was the first one, because there wasn't, at the time, there were a few restaurants, actually a lot more than there are now. But he was the first one that I thought really kind of elevated it to a gourmet level. And
yeah, where you could have a really nice restaurant
Yes.
and eat really well and not
Exactly.
feel like you were, in a takeout
Yes.
vegan place. So, how did it make you feel when you started going raw? After you said 30-day challenge you gave yourself?
I did first. Week hardcore. Then
Okay.
I kind of went back for. I was raised Jamaican, and
Oh, okay. There's
uh,
your background.
oh yeah, my background Jamaican, Canadian, and we ate everything.
Yeah.
And I was a very adventurous eater. So if it walked, I would try it.
Yeah.
So for me, it was taste, and I thought psychologically, I'm like craving these foods, which is to be expected because you've been doing this all your life. You've been eating a certain way all your life, and you give it a change, and you're going to crave certain things.
Exactly.
So for a while I did, and then I remember a craving had hit once before. It was like maybe 5 months or 6 months down the road, and I had like a small piece. I was still cooking regular food for people. I had a small piece of like a steak, and I chewed, and it stayed here for about 8 hours.
I have that issue too, because I don't eat red meat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
So I said, you know what? I'm kind of done.
Yeah, your body's telling you. Yeah. I was saying to you before the show, I went vegetarian when I was 18 years old. And I did so for 2 reasons. One, because I was going into college and I wanted to be healthier and lose weight and attract everything I wanted in life, including a boyfriend, you know. I was a total surf rat out on the beach all the time. And the other reason was because there was like the affordability, and I couldn't stand what I saw in the college cafeterias, which everything was fried. When you talk about live food, everything was dead. And everything was yellow. You know, there was just one color across the board. So I went off that plan and I ate off of salad bars. And so 18 was a long time ago for me. You know, it's about 45 years now. And so for that lifestyle, anytime I try to even eat red meat, I get sick. It like you said, it sort of gets trapped. I can't, and I always know my body, I feel different because you get used to what you've created. And I tell my clients this too when they want to change a certain way of eating, you know, into another dietary theory and start eating clean, is number one, you have to do it slowly like you did. You said you did a week, then 2 weeks, and 3 weeks. Is I call it crowding out. You bring in the good, take out the bad, or you don't even have to call it good and bad, but the dead and the live or whatever. And gradually your body will adjust. And then when you abruptly go back to what you used to do, your body will tell you.
Yes.
So, and that happens inevitably across the board. Because people think that they can't get rid of cravings, you know, that life is just one big craving. And it really isn't that way, but you have to give it time.
Exactly.
It's an eventual pull. Yeah. So that happened to you in the vegan world, and you felt better, you looked better, and you decided you needed to share with the world what you discovered?
Yes. You know, it's funny. It truly is a journey for me. Back in those days, I thought that was the answer to all of life's problems, being raw vegan. And you realize as you go down the road, well, it can answer a couple problems, but
no,
it doesn't
there are no answers to
problems.
everything.
No, and
even no matter what your lifestyle is.
Exactly. And you know, and I also thought it was a one size fits all at that point. But I realized the more I know, well, I might not know as much as I thought I did.
Yeah, everybody's different.
Exactly. Everybody's different. I mean, for me, I have been vegan and it has been great for me. I tell you, I should make a distinction between plant-based and vegan.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that because I think there's a lot of confusion about that.
Yes.
So
I would say 20 years ago, vegan was definitely...
Oh, we have a call.
Oh, we do?
We do.
Okay.
Hello, caller. Are you there? Hello?
Hello.
Hi. Oh. What is your name and where are you calling from?
Leanne, and I'm calling from Napa.
Oh, welcome, Leanne. Oh, you know
hey,
Ian.
I know Leanne.
Hi, Leanne. How are you? Do you have a question or a comment for Ian today?
I do have a question. I just tuned in, so I hope it wasn't answered already. Being a vegan, do you find that you need to add certain supplements like maybe vitamin B12 or anything like that?
Well, for me, I haven't had to. My last checkup, I did do some blood work with the doctor. I would say honestly, it would be maybe 18 months, close to 2 years. And at that point, I was 7 years in, and my B12 levels were fine. All of my numbers came back very well.
You were getting them through fruits and vegetables and all of your live food.
Yes, exactly.
I find that when you eat really clean. Are you a vegan?
Yes, a new vegan since January.
Oh, new. And how have you been feeling? And are you on any supplements?
I've been feeling great. People just tell me I need vitamin B12, and I thought I should be checked because I think I'm feeling fine.
Yeah, so, that's more for a doctor to tell you.
I'm feeling great. Yeah, I feel great. But I just thought, I might be missing something. Do most vegans have to do it, or I don't know.
Well,
I was just kind of lost.
Oh, well, what I've been told, Leanne, and I'm not a doctor. I'm just a chef. But what I've been told is 42% of Americans have a B12 deficiency. But the thing is, most people don't they only check vegans after you've been off. So the best way to know would be to do your blood work before you change your dietary lifestyle, and then do it after, so you can actually really get an accurate reading.
I highly agree with that. I highly agree with it. Most people have that deficiency because they have a food deficiency in the way they're eating.
Right.
And they're not getting the minerals, the nutrients, and the vitamins from their food, and they're actually being depleted of that through their food. So you have a lifestyle that's opposite of that. So that's why it's very individual, and people will say that, but we were just talking about the not one size fits all. So that would be something for you individually to check for yourself.
Yeah.
Great, thank you. Because like I said, I feel great, and I just thought, well, if I feel great, why worry?
Right.
Yeah, and it's always worth a check on any vitamins. You know, vitamin D, especially for women, is very important for for our bones, because we have bone loss as we age. All of us do, women more rapidly. And that should be checked as well. But it's so individual. It isn't just because your friends tell you or you read about it in a magazine. Right. So, oh my gosh, great question. Thank you for calling in, and continue to listen.
Thank you, Ian. Thank you, Ian, and thank you, Debbie.
Okay. You're welcome.
Thanks,
have a great day.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Good question.
Yeah, great
Very
question.
good.
Yeah.
Which kind of is where we were heading right now, and talking about the difference between plant-based and raw.
Oh, yeah. I was saying plant-based and vegan.
Yeah, and vegan.
As I say, 20 years ago, if you were to say vegan, 9 times out of 10, or maybe even 9.9 times out of 10, it would be healthy. Nowadays, vegan to me means do no harm, or do as little harm as possible, but not necessarily the healthiest.
Okay.
A Twinkie is vegan. An Oreo is vegan.
That's right.
But if you have a diet of Twinkies and Oreos, you're going to have a lot of problems.
And this is the issue I have when I do my talks and when I talk to clients or talk to my group classes and things, is people think really that's a processed food. So there's clean and there's processed. Clean is the least ingredients, really the ingredients in raw form, and processed is all the crap that goes into ingredients, even though it may not be animal based.
Right.
So, it could be chemically based. So people have to be really careful. And here's what I find, Ian, is that people that do vegan diets tend to gain weight and feel bloated. Because they're not paying attention to what you just said.
Yeah, that's
they're
true.
eating processed food.
Yeah.
So how can people overcome that and not be saddled with, becoming a vegan chef themselves?
The easiest way is just get items that come out of the ground the way that they are.
Okay.
And cook that, or prepare that.
Or prepare it.
However you're going to do it.
When we say raw vegan, are we talking raw and not cooked? Is there a difference?
Well, I don't consider myself a raw vegan anymore. That's my specialty in cooking.
Okay.
So I am a vegan chef, but raw vegan is where that was my concentration, if you want to put it that way.
Okay.
So raw vegan is considered anything that has not been cooked for a long period of time above 118 degrees.
Okay, so that's the definition.
That's the definition.
The official. Okay.
Yes, so that the enzymes are still alive and it's still, the life force has not been killed.
Where you can get all your nutrients
Exactly.
that your body needs.
Exactly.
So if we are still eating clean, and let's say what you said before, cooking, foods that have come from the ground, foods that have been grown, nuts, seeds, fruits and vegetables, but we're cooking them. Are we still getting the nutrients that we need? Or
now I believe so.
Okay.
I believe that there are some foods that are definitely better raw, but like, for example, tomatoes and I think broccoli. I'm not sure, but I know tomatoes for sure. There's a certain nutrient that gets activated by the heat. So there are some foods that actually you get, you're benefited much better by cooking.
Right. Okay.
But I would say that in our society, everything is cooked to overcooked. So there's normally not a problem with that.
Yeah.
The problem is getting live
Getting live food and getting,
food.
like what we were just talking about with Luann, is that, being able to get the nutrients that we need from the foods.
Exactly.
Now, I told you it goes really fast, but I want to talk about your food specifically. And you have these raw vegan cheeses that you make. These are what you sell at the farmer's market.
Yes.
First off, you call your company something that has nothing to do with your name. It's Misha?
Misha's Kind Foods.
Kind Foods. And why is that?
Because Misha's my son.
I figured as much. Okay.
So, he's the, when I'm 18 hours in a day, from the kitchen or maybe going to a performance, this is my reason why. So there's never...
So has Misha been a vegan? Has he grown up on...
He's been a vegan since birth.
Okay.
Yes.
That's what I was...
Yes,
and is that difficult when he goes to, barbecues and there's hot dogs and hamburgers and things like that? Has he learned to adjust? It's his lifestyle, right?
Yeah, he doesn't really... I mean, the thing is, he's like me when I was his age, very particular.
Okay.
Oh my goodness! I'm like, this must have been hell. I must have been hell on my parents, because there's certain things that he sticks to. He doesn't really, even like if we've done on occasion, I'll do like the Beyond Meat or some of the more. He doesn't really want it very much.
No, he's not crazy because he never knew better from the beginning. I have a daughter who's a vegetarian, and she started because I started her off in life that way, and now she's slowly brought fish and some poultry back into her life as she became an adult. I mean, she's almost 30, but as she became an adult. But giving them a good start keeps them there, because like what we were talking about earlier, our bodies don't crave what we haven't even showed them yet.
Right. Exactly.
Let's talk about your food. Kurt, can we show? Okay, so you brought 2 different cheeses here.
Yes, 2 different spreads.
I remember asking you about your spreads and what was in them, and I just went, the way you make them with nuts and puree them and vegetables. What did you bring today?
I brought sari and jalapeno thyme, 2 spreads. Now, I do rounds, but unfortunately, I couldn't bring any rounds in today because we had a great day at the market.
Well, I'm glad. That's good. But we showed them, I think, up on the screen.
Yes.
So you can touch these and tell it what is what.
So this one, sari, is roasted garlic. It's actually named for my goddaughter.
Oh,
Sari.
Okay. Oh, nice.
And she likes, I was told that, Uncle Ian, would you make something with sun-dried tomatoes and cilantro and garlic? And I came up with it, and that's what's in this one.
Okay.
And these are 2 of the, well, I can't even say they're the most popular because they all have a very different flavor profile.
I think I had something that was like called lox and cheese. Or
lox.
The lox.
Yes. Well, this one is a jalapeno thyme. So this is probably one of the more simple, cleaner ones, which is just jalapeno thyme, salt, the cultures that I use, and I use different cultures depending on the flavors that I want to get.
Okay.
So I'm using some old world techniques from cheese making and combining it with the traditional raw vegan way of doing it, and with vegan. So I'm kind of doing a few things.
Okay.
And it's working out pretty
so
well.
The process being, is there any cooking involved in this, or is it?
And some of them there are, and some of them not.
Okay.
Like, for example, the sari is roasted garlic, sun-dried tomato, so the garlic is roasted.
Okay.
Some of them there.
And then it helps puree everything else too, right?
Yeah. Then that's blended.
Okay.
To the consistency of. Well, I start with milk. I do start with like almond milk.
Okay.
And then cashew milk.
Cashews
that get grounded down.
Okay. So you make your own nut milks.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. So I make sure that, and also,
so cool.
for most of the 90% of the seasonings, I also get them from organic vendors at the market.
Okay.
I will dehydrate them myself.
Okay.
And then I will grind them up and make my own herbs. So you're really getting something that's fresh and very strong in flavor and very good for it.
That's what I was going to ask you, the source of your ingredients and where you get them. So mostly you get them from growers themselves. Or do you grow anything yourself? Do you have your own?
Yet, no.
Okay.
Well, that would be nice.
Okay,
That would be nice to grow my
on
own
to the
herbs,
next
but,
phase.
Yeah.
And you are, we're out of time, so I want to tell the audience where your farmers markets are, that they can go visit you and meet you and buy your products.
Yes. Well, we're at Today, I'm going to be running as soon as we're done at Sherman Oaks.
Okay.
La Cañada on Saturday, and also Calabasas on Saturday, Sunday at Malibu, and Sunday in Brentwood. So 5 farmers markets. Please follow me on Instagram at Misha's Kinds Foods.
Okay.
That's where you can see all of the developments and where we're going to be. And mishaskindsfoods.com is the website.
You also have chef.ianmartin.com is a website of yours as well.
Yes, and for anybody who's curious about the music, which we didn't even really get into.
No, that's the next show we do together.
Exactly. IanMartinMusic.com. So I'm busy.
Perfect. Now, I always like to leave my audience with a little bit of something that gives them a piece of words of wisdom from my guests. What would you have to say to everybody on a end note?
Oh, wow. Be open and be as kind as you can be.
Yeah.
That is 2 things that really, that
kindness
has taken me.
Makes
kindness
the world
and
go
openness.
around. Kindness is
Absolutely.
love. It all's full circle. And I love that you call your company, you have the word kind.
Yes.
And have your son, associate it with food and kindness.
Yes.
Because I think food is love, being kind is love. Put those things together, and you've got it all. You've got it all full circle going on.
Exactly.
Ian, I have to thank you so much for taking
it's my
time.
pleasure.
I know you have a farmer's market you're
Yes.
running off to. I know it's busy for you, but really, I'm so happy to have highlighted you today.
you.
I'm going to have you back, and we'll talk a little bit more all about you,
Sure.
as opposed to just vegan.
Sure.
And I want to thank you. I hope you guys got some good information today. I know I'm going to use this show when my friends and clients say to me, what's the difference between being a vegan, not being a vegan? How does it work? This show answers those questions. So I thank you for your time, and I'm going to see you right here back next week. Bye, everybody.